So what we're going to do is we're going to start it. And so I'm going to be layer 1, Germany. Layer 2 will be United Kingdom. It's funny, it says United Kingdom over there, but it says Britain over here. Okay, so we're in May 1940. Visibility is 25. Okay, and length is 15. Okay, we're going to go with a random map. We're not going to try. I'm not going to experiment with a custom map yet. I need to get more information about how best to do that. My goal eventually is to use random maps as custom maps, but I'm not quite sure it's working the way I think, the way I expected it to. So, yeah, just go with what we know for now. 1,000 points. Everything else is 100%. Everything is on except command to control. Yeah. Okay. And let's check again. Player 1 is Germany. Player 2 is Britain. Play by email, so it's automatically human. Deploy for both sides. May 1940. Visibility 25. Length 15. And let's get in there. Let's see what we got for a map, because that will be the first problem. 100 at end of battle. Okay, I can live with that. Yeah. And they should all be the same, but you never know with this game, you know. You could set up 100 of these, and then, you know, the 101st one will just be different. Like, at that point you think, oh, that's how it works, but then it turns out it isn't. And really, like, somebody might have known that already, but where is it? Damn it. You know, but unless you actually have that much experience with the game, you might never ever find out that, yeah, these could be different. And there's a way for it to appear to be different, because again, I didn't realize these could overlap, which occurred in the last battle. So what do we got as? So the map's okay, victory X's are okay. And by map okay, I mean it came up. Sometimes I get black, like an empty screen, even though there actually is a map, because, you know, I mouse over the map where the map's supposed to be, or it actually puts these, you know, it puts the information bubbles up, but it doesn't. There's nothing being rendered for the map. I get that rather more frequently. So everything looks good. Let's zoom out, have a look around. Germany will be on the right-hand side, the eastern side of the map. What do we got? Let's find the middle of the map. Give an idea of where the start lines might be. 49. Yeah. Because actually, the hex numbers start at 0. You can tell when things are written by programmers and not written by programmers. That's with the assumption that the people using it are programmers to a certain extent. Okay, so 49 is there. So we're 12 hexes from there. Yeah. So about it's 60, maybe 61. What do we got? Germans are starting in plenty of concealment, so that's not bad. Difficult to move up through here, though. Now, the victory hexes are clustered in the center more than there's one extra one in the south. It's 60. The victory hexes are somewhere. Okay, it's actually on a that's gonna be around here somewhere. Yeah, we go. Okay, so this is a 54. In theory, my start line's around 60, 61 or so, but it could actually be angling away or closer. So, but these would be fairly close no matter what, I think. So this side. Now for the British. So around 38. And actually it's over a year. So these ones, the ones on this hill should be close to the German side. These ones here are much closer to the British side. The ones in the south are right in the middle. Nope, they're actually on this hill somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So, Okay, so I think the British have pretty good approaches to this one on this side. On this one they have to approach in the open. Well, there's a field here, so not necessarily. But the approach to this one is really not easy to detect. No, the British do not have cavalry. Yay! But they have and their armor is not massively cheap. The armored cars are fairly inexpensive, so but they don't have very mobile infantry, at least not in 1940. Well, they could put them. My phone could put them in trucks again, I guess. But I don't really think he would need to. 38 is around here. Yeah, he has access to that very quickly. German's not that lucky because these ones are here. At 54 and 53. So we're looking at like they could I think I can move up to there very quickly. So, however, that's not necessarily. I mean, this is the best case, right? This is average case. I mean, it could be a lot worse where I'm much further back, or a lot better where I'm really close to it. Thing is, if he's approaching that one, I think I can assume he would just approach through the forest here. I mean, he can actually move up behind these hills here. I wouldn't be able to see him right away. On this side, I have the option of approaching behind this hill, because that is where the big GXs are, on the side of it. Thing is being able to get there fast enough. Again, depends on how far back I need to start. Because unfortunately, one of those really weird things about the game is it doesn't show you everything that would be really useful to know. During unit purchase, like I don't. Is that intentional? I don't know. It seems like it is, just to not give anybody an advantage. Because the thing of it is, we're doing the unit purchase in a sequence, and so if unit purchase was happening simultaneous, then I think you could probably just let all the information be available, because there's no, it's just happening all at the same time. Whereas now, one player has a lot more time to think about it. So, giving them additional information just is might be too helpful to player one, actually. Maybe giving it to player two would probably be good, because player two is always has a slight disadvantage, because always moving second in each turn. So anyway, so here we have. Okay, so these are right in the center of the map. So no matter what happens, well, yeah, these are right in the center of the map. But the thing is, the start line can zigzag down the map, so it could angle all the way back this way, right? So I could be 15 hexes away from that position on this side, or even 18, I guess, and the British could be right on top of it. Anyway, so we're gonna. The thing is, I don't see. I mean, this is easy for the British to approach. They can approach behind this hill. So, and I can approach behind the hill. We're not necessarily going to see each other. It's a matter of being able to get to the hill fast enough. So, cavalry. Maybe it's time to try those. Because certainly I need to be able to move up fast here, but I need to be able to do it with something inexpensive. This side, same reasoning. You have to assume that I should assume I'm starting further back than the average. So I need a little bit of speed just to move up and take the hexes early, or try to get into a position that will not necessarily not just to put a presence in the area. Because I always seem to not be able to do that, right? That's a weakness. It really puts me on my back foot. Even when I'm player one, I always seem to get to establish a presence close to the objectives. It's like one turn too late at best. So I need to really correct that. But it's tricky with the Germans, for me anyway, because I don't. The points level is just not quite there. I need to figure that out. And so actually, I mean, the opponent's offer of increasing it, of making it an unbalanced game, like giving me a handicap of by giving me compensating for my inexperience with extra points. I mean, he said that was actually a common thing in the old academy days, the Depot Academy, because new graduates were given extra points based on how experienced the other graduates, like the graduate they're playing against, was. It's not a bad idea, actually, but I don't think it's really necessary for this one yet. I'm still in a going to want to complete this series, and then I'm going to change how the thing is done anyway. So might be a good time to look at it. Now, well, now the problem is I still need to cover the flank. I have units moving up on this side, but I still need to cover. They'll move units moving straight towards it, but they're going to need to cover this side because if you move something quick up on this side, I'm not sure what it could be. Probably recon. They would be a bit expensive though. So I think I'm not really seeing, because the British don't have a lot of inexpensive mobile units. Maybe I shouldn't be too concerned about units moving up the flanks. So I mean, their mobile units tend to be elite units, or expensive. Either elite, which makes them expensive, or just like armor, which makes them expensive. They don't have any. Since they don't have any leg cavalry units, the cavalry units are all motorized. So maybe that's not really that much of a concern. Don't know. Yeah, so I'm trying to see where if I get cavalry, the cavalry platoon. How much is a platoon? 72 points. These are actually pretty good. They're average units, so they're not too expensive, but they're well equipped. They have MG34s. They actually carry more ammo. Benefits of being on horses. Much easier to carry extra stuff. And their speed is, but because of that, they're slower. So they're not bad. But they're 72 points to begin with, so you can't really do that and regular infantry. So if we went with that, because you actually get the rarity is 2, so they weren't really in common use in 1940. Although they were in use, that's for sure. I mean, they were in use until 1942, I think, at least. Because they definitely did appear on the Eastern Front. Where is the? Oh, okay. I thought you could get a cavalry company. No, you can't. Okay, well that's pretty much an indication that they were not like full strength units. Okay, so we're looking if cavalry platoon is all great, but I don't know how I could make it work here. Well, assuming they can move up, take those. So one cavalry platoon for each of those, maybe. Actually, 2 platoons here. But what comes up behind them, right? Because cavalry are mobile units. They need to they need to keep moving. Otherwise, they don't. Otherwise, they're very vulnerable. They can't be standing still. So they're not good for holding ground. So if they're going to take those, they have to keep going, which is something I'm not really used to doing. So it's kind of a big change. but still, what supports them? I mean, that's just it. What comes after? What comes after them, and how does that fit together? Um, well, I think I haven't checked. Make sure I set the mission of Journey versus Britain. May 40. Length 15, visibility 25. All right. Okay. I mean, that is the fastest unit you could get for very little points. Give me everything else starts to cost quite a bit. Oh wow. Okay. Support platoon. 96 points though. Holy moly. Come with a 50 millimeter mortar, I think. Yeah. Um, actually, those are pretty nice for when you're taking infantry like platoons on their own. You don't have. This is possibly a way to get around the light mortar issue. They come with an anti-tank rifle. It's not a bad thing. Gotta keep looking at different things because otherwise, I have become a little bit too stuck in a rut. I think in what I'm buying. But it was so easy. It was so easy to get into that because it just avoided having to figure things out. But really, I think I've made a bigger problem for myself by not really trying a lot of different things. Thing is, these guys would need to. They're not mobile, so like how would they move up? Um, the cavalry also do not have much anti-tank, and the um, would be a problem. The British have fairly good support tanks, close support tanks. They have relatively inexpensive the cruiser tanks, but the um, like their actual main battle tanks, they don't really call them that, but that's I mean are very inexpensive, but and not really that good. So we won't be seeing any of those, except for the Matilda 2, which is very expensive anyway. Well, I mean that's like 124 points for a section. Um, it's a good tank, but not going to see that in this battle. So we're probably likely to see cruiser tanks, maybe a section of those. So there won't be that much armor. However, the armored cars are quite inexpensive. And they well equipped with anti-aircraft machine guns with have very good range on them. So the cavalry may not have much of a chance. Which means I actually will need armor in this battle. So let's see, what does this look like? No, well, let's just try and make some decisions about how we're gonna. So, cavalry platoon there, maybe two of them in the center, one in the south. But I'm thinking of something else here. I mean, that may not be, maybe that's not the best option. So maybe two platoons there. Let's assume cavalry there. Two platoons of cavalry there. That will allow them to, because there's two Victory X clusters here that may allow them to get further ahead if they could. Things I don't see. Actually, there's something else. I mean, using it in my solo game. You have the motorcycle platoons, which are okay. I mean, they're inexpensive, but they don't have LMGs, so you have to actually get you have to provide LMGs for them somehow, which possibly could come from Kubelwagen MGs, I guess. That's not a bad thing, because these are not that would be a cheaper option than the motorcycle LMG, which is very expensive, to say the least. The reason it's actually, I'm not really sure what the reason is that it is so expensive. Now these are actually cheaper than the cavalry, but you do need more of them because the cavalry are kind of a little bit more balanced. I see that because the motorcycle platoon doesn't only has rifles; they don't have there's no LMGs in them, so you have to provide an LMG somewhere else. Like I said, possibly one possible way for doing that is with this scout car, the infamous Kubelwagen MG. My go-to unit when I only have a few points left. Yeah, I'll be blunt. It works very, very well, and I keep you keep expecting it to get destroyed fairly quickly because it's got no armor and it can be destroyed with rifle fire. But so in most cases they get taken out by tanks, not by rifle fire. I because of some stupid move, they're left exposed and the tank opportunity fire takes it out very easily. Wasn't even done with wasn't even done by the opponent. It was done by under computer control. So they can get destroyed fairly quickly, but they can that anti-aircraft MG has a really good range and is very accurate against a lot of different kinds of infantry targets. So very useful unit I'm finding. So possibly let's put together a scout unit based on those. A motorcycle platoon, maybe an LMG and a scout for this side of the map because it's open. That they'll be able to move pretty well there. This side is a little bit closed up. In fact, the victory hexes here are in the forest. So that looks like a good job for cavalry. They're moving up through wooded area. They're not as compromised because the wheeled vehicles wheeled vehicles. The wheeled vehicles would be slowed down quite a lot in this area, I think. So cavalry for the northern victory axis. Okay, that's the advanced units, but that's a lot of points. Looking at it in the south, we'd probably be looking at just to put numbers on it. One of those possibly, and one of those possibly. That's already quite a lot of points. Now, a cheaper way to do this might be with Scout Call Platoon. That's only 18 points. But that's not... That's not a terrible idea. That is not a terrible idea. And on the north side, we use cavalry, just for the speed. they won't be able to do much. That's the problem. They won't really, and I'm not very good with them, so that's going to be an issue to begin with. Now these are all recon, so they don't need anything else. And what are we at here? We have 594 points left. Now that's all great, but what comes up to try and hold the ground? So we're probably looking at rifle platoons, I think. Nothing else is really cost effective. Let's look at that. I mean, I'm trying to see whether the cavalry makes sense here because they are a bit more expensive, but I think they're like I said, I mean they actually a well balanced cavalry unit. Like some nations tend not to have. Like the Netherlands cavalry was very light cavalry. They were very fast, but they only were equipped with rifles. They didn't have any machine guns at all. And the rifles were quite short range, only 7 or 8 hexes or something. So, I'm trying to decide whether. Yeah, well, we'll see. So that means we need to bring other things up. Rifle platoon there, and rifle platoon there to hold that, and possibly one to move to try and hold that if we ever can do it. So that's probably another 2-3 platoons. And we're at 339 points. Now they will need support. These support platoons are quite interesting. They consist of 3 medium infantry, which has rifles, 30mm Panzerbusch anti-tank rifle, MG34, and 50mm. I wonder, why not just take those instead? Well, because I think it's not taking a full company means that these guys, there's no light mortars to work closely with them. They are quite pricey though, and they are elite units, so that's probably why they're quite pricey. What else do we have? Do those make sense here? No, they don't actually. Well, well, for laying mines perhaps. So, general idea is the cavalry will move up. 2 cavalry platoons will move up to take that, and then continue on trying to take that. 2 infantry platoons will move into here. Try to secure this hill. If the cavalry can take that, then we may need to keep pushing forward, but I doubt that very much. So the motorcycle units and the Kugelwagen MGs will move up here to try and take that. they won't be able to hold it, unfortunately. So the other infantry will be trying to move across here as fast as possible. So the other infantry consists of one platoon to this side and two platoons up through here. I'm committing more to this side because there is more victory axes to be had over there. Problem is, this leaves the flanks fairly exposed. I'm not sure what to do about that. So anyway, assuming we go with that, we're gonna probably go with scouts, 2-man scouts. Just lead them. I'm already at 276 points left over. We haven't done anything useful yet. So these support platoons are kind of intriguing, but they're quite small. They're not really intended for, I mean, our support platoons are not really intended to be conducting a lot of combat. I am concerned though that this so far is only taking care of a fairly narrow front line there and there. Middle's probably not too bad because these guys will be moving up along here and these guys are moving up along here. However, the north, that's a huge gap. Not sure if I can find something inexpensive to maybe move some let's have a look, engineers possibly to the side and they can start laying mines. Well, not really seeing what the possible approaches are for. Presumably, there might be some units trying to move across here simply because it's a way to throw me off as a player. I don't know what I could use there. Like engineers are probably one possibility. Don't know. Not coming up with a really good sense of this makes what I'm doing here, but I'm really concerned now that I'm leaving these flanks, like especially the northern flank, very very thin. I just don't know what I could do to fill it in. The only thing that's possible is a rifle platoon. There really isn't anything else that's inexpensive. Engineers could do it, I think. That might be a good thing because then they're costing the same as the scouts, but they're not scouts as the regular infantry, but they may make more sense for that job because they don't really need to move up that far. Depending on where we start from. Assume 61 or thereabouts. It might be enough for them just to stay on the start line and start laying mines, right? They don't really need to lay a lot, just to create a barrier that's not easy to. That causes some casualties when they move through there, and also lets me know if something is moving through there. And then that'll be the defensive unit in that areas. Question is how many? Possibly one platoon there. I don't know. I don't think I can afford that. Don't think so. Actually, the Brandenburgers are quite inexpensive. Oh, it's probably because it's not a very large unit. Ah, well, they do get expensive. Depends on what you get with them. Okay, this satchel charge gets a lot more bang for the buck, so to speak. Well, yeah, that's very nice, but it's not gonna work. So actually, I'm thinking these are probably excessive. I should probably go with a cheaper unit to get that advanced force. The cavalry are really nice, a good idea, but I don't think I can balance it out. So let's get that. I don't think I can get. I don't think I can make it work. So let's see. I mean, to hold this side, I'm saying, well, two platoons for this hill, probably because I doubt I can get that far, to be honest. I doubt I can push far enough to get that one. If I tried, if I wanted to do that, I probably would need another platoon to this area would actually require 3 platoons, and this side I'd only commit 1. So then that's a whole company, and this is an extra platoon. So if we do that, as I get the scouts to go with him. One of these days I'll remember where the button is for it. I'm always having to look for. I can never remember what position things are in. Scout platoon. Yeah, so the my plan are that it will. Playing the Germans is not really that helping me as much as I thought it would. It's helped a little to a certain extent, but not enough. Um, Not enough because it's hard to balance them. It's hard to balance the forces at 1,000 points, um, simply because of how much they cost. So we need to. So I need to play other nations with less expensive units. But that creates a different problem of a lot of the other nations are not as easy to play as the Germans. The Germans are actually quite comfortable to play. Let's put it that way. Um, they get suppressed fairly easily, but they generally rally fairly easily in most cases. I mean, on the average case, I shouldn't say in most cases, but on average, they play much more playable for me so far. But I mean, some of the other nations are quite a bit more of a challenge because they don't rally, they break easily. So you can you could have a lot of units, but they could all end up running away. So it's whether that's what you actually want or not. So let's assume that we're gonna go all out in the north, and so I think I would need 3 platoons to actually do that. 1 platoon for this side. Um, and maybe some extra support. I don't know. We'll see. So then that makes it another rifle there and a scout, 2-man. Yep. Okay. So what are we at now? 386 points. So we're gonna need heavy MG to support that one. I'm thinking maybe. So heavy MG for that side. Although, when you look at it, the heavy MG does makes more sense than this side, doesn't it? Actually, it doesn't. If you get a heavy MG up here, it can cover both sides fairly well. So 1 heavy MG, maybe 1 light MG. But for sure, one heavy MG. If we can get it into, if it can be moved into this position here, it can do a pretty good job covering the side. If it can be moved further up, it can even cover over here. But everything depends on being able to get them onto a high ground here. That could prove tricky. Okay, so 354 points remaining. Okay, so looking at these support sections, support platoons. One support platoon for them, maybe. I don't. It's only that many. It's only 354 points, so there's not going to be enough. Now this gives you 3 mortars, because this is for 1 platoon, 1 section. This is 1 section. You get a Car 98 anti-tank rifle, LMG, MG34 LMG, and a 50 millimeter mortar. This is pretty good, actually. So one of these support platoons will give you 3 mortars. 3 mortars, 3 anti-tank rifles, 3 LMGs. Okay, now I think 2 is out of the question. Yeah. So best we can do. Whoa! What the hell? Whoops! What happened there? Yeah, I only used 162 points, so yeah. But that gives you the same things as the now these guys, the ones in the south, are not as lucky. Obviously, because they're not getting the same kind of thing. So that gives us light mortars, and they're included in another unit, so it doesn't count as against the artillery limit. So if we go get a normal artillery, no, not that. Mortar, 2 sections, and a 4 observer. 153 points left. Okay, so now it's trying to figure out how to make now we're looking at motorcycle platoon, and a scout car. Just one. We won't get more than one for now. So 93 points, and a second motorcycle platoon. Yeah, well, that's not going to work. So something has to be removed. Yeah, the problem is that my problem is that these guys don't have they don't have LMGs, and that's a bit of a nuisance. More than a bit, actually. If these guys actually had were actually more of a full service platoon, they're just rifles, and that's not really adequate. In theory, there's 10 of them, so one volley carries a lot of fire shots, assuming all of them fire. They might not, and that, of course, with reduced units realism on, that's might be likely to get eight men or something, more likely. Yeah, it now 10 will be an exception rather than the standard thing. So, and you could lose quite a lot of men. I mean, it could be as low as 7. Don't I don't know if it could, but since it's random, so I guess it could go as low as 6, which would really hurt. But these are, I mean, they're cheap, but there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that they don't have LMGs. So these guys are 72 points, but they're much more balanced. So I mean, if you're looking at, if we do 2 of those, that's not gonna work. What the hell? Okay, well, we're a bit screwed here then. So the only other option, it looks like this is probably, no. Best you can do is just one of those. So the 3 platoons are not going to work. If these guys weren't so expensive, this Waffen trooper, then we'd probably, but they're worth it, except for the fact that they're elite units. So that's probably what's working against me there, because they're now quite a bit more expensive. They have a lot of stuff with them, though. That's part of what the cost is. I don't know. It seems. Well, it seems like you just can't. I just can't find that balance. with the Germans yet. So for armor, just to skip over to that, the assuming cruiser tanks. Well, the thing is, I mean, there's a possibility you might not even bother because the cruiser tank is still quite expensive, right? Um, hmm. I don't know. This is see, trying different things is all very well, but it's not working out. Um, let's go back to the map. Let's see if we can think of something else. I think I'm running out of combinations that make sense to me. I think that's probably the main thing. I mean, the reason I got comfortable with the rifle company and then just tacking things onto it was because it made sense to me. Just trying these random combinations just isn't fitting with how I expect a military unit to operate. So that may be part of it. I expect I could. You'd send a company with some support units. This is how I've been building it. The problem is it hasn't really worked out. So whether that's valid, I mean, because it is a game. It's not real. It's not So trying to do things by the military book may not work that well. So. So maybe something else in the south. Go with the 3 in the north. That will be heavy MG. And support platoon, which may be excessive. That's probably that's what's throwing things off now because I've now found this unit, which I think is really cool, but I can't get it to fit in. It has, because it has everything you need. I mean, it has everything you need. It's the equivalent of the support platoon that you would get if you bought a full rifle company. So is it maybe worthwhile buying a full rifle company instead of that? I don't know. Probably not. Probably, actually. Probably. I think you get slightly less stuff in it though, because the support platoon in the rifle company only has 2 LMGs. Here you're getting 3 LMGs because each section has a separate one. The anti-tank rifles and the mortar is the same. It's not that much difference. It's a very small difference, actually. Also not getting, there's no Zufira. So that's possibly another thing that's not I mean, so this in theory is actually cheaper, and but that's probably where the cost for that taking the Zufir out and then it is that extra LMG is probably making up for making up for the cost. So this may actually be the same amount of points, or very close to it, as the support platoon in the actual rifle company. Yeah, so you're taking that out and then adding another LMG. So I think it's probably about the same. That's 13 points. Yeah, it's about the same. Might be slightly cheaper, but not much. Maybe 1 or 2 points. Okay, so north. If we let's assume that's the northern group. They're moving up. One directly to there, one through here, one across here. That covers that flank, and it tries to advance towards that. So give them a heavy MG for support. Okay, now south. Oops, I added 2 of them in there. Oops. I added 2 heavy MG sections, or platoons. This is so much easier with what's it called? Rarity off. The thing is, with the rarity on, I wouldn't be able to experiment like this at all, because there's a good chance that whatever I picked would suddenly disappear, because it was not widely available. So you managed to get it one time, and then that's it. You can't get it again. So if you delete something, it doesn't come back because it's not a force pool. It doesn't get put back into the pool. It just disappears. So for a beginner player, I would not recommend playing with rarity on. It's definitely an expert only. You really need to know what you're doing, and you need to pre-plan it. You need to use an external tool there. They do exist. I haven't really looked into it because one of the problems with using other software or additional softwares that I have to get the stuff to work on wine sometimes. It requires experimentation and maybe not terribly interesting. When I just want to play the game, damn it. Okay, so we got 259 points now. Somehow we didn't come out ahead on that. I don't know why. So for the south, I don't know. I just can't find something that's reasonably priced. So for the armor, let's just duck into that one, and then see if we can figure something out. I mean, I in the best case, well, to take on the cruiser tanks, you're probably gonna need a 38T, I think. Um, it's got longer range and well, it outranges it a little bit. That's the main thing. I think the 35T is actually outranged by the cruiser tanks. Now, this assumes that he would take those, because why bother? Um, it's a lot of points. The cruiser tanks are not cheap. You can get them as low as 77 points, if I remember. So that's not bad. That gives you 2 tanks, which isn't very much. You might prefer to take a lot of armored cars, in which case it's kind of pointless taking tanks. These things you don't know what you just don't know. Um, because of the low point value, taking a lot of armor is probably not the ideal thing to do. The thing is, the anti-tank rifles are not really very effective against it. Against the smaller, like against the real tanks, like the cruiser tanks. So, don't know. It's so difficult. In the last battle, I mean, I could have helped myself a lot by not taking, uh, a good tank, right? I could have probably gotten away with something less. Yeah, so I still don't know what I'm going to use in the south. It's only 259 points left. That's not a lot. It's not a lot. Um, in the south, something has to move up very quickly here, and that seems like a possible option. These guys are moving through. It's a closed terrain's very closed here, so I don't really see much point in vehicles moving up through it. They'd be slowed down even more. But on this side, they come equipped with the half track. The half track is a 37 millimeter Pack 3646. If you go with that, that does not count as armor because it's attached to an infantry unit. Well, it leaves 92 points. And they still need yeah, well, One thing that is annoying about Germans is like all of their recon units are all elite recon. It's not a single one of their, not they're always like all their armored car units are always elite units. Even the light ones, no, oh no, they're not. Oops, I was wrong. So is it just their armored cars? Yeah, I guess so. No, I need to squeeze more units out of this. Is rather more the point. So let's assume we need a rifle platoon in the south. We put a cavalry platoon in front of them. I think I need scouts, so that's a problem. So we have 153 points. Another one of these, maybe. $33 points. 'Okay, so what are we down to? 33 points. So with these, though, would be the lead scouts. It's about as cheap as I can make them, and at this point, I can't take any tanks. No armor at all. I don't know. Is that a good idea? Probably not. Actually, I kind of look forward to the day I can actually play with a lot of points and know what to do with it. Because it really worries me that at 1,000 points I can't figure out what to do with it. I can't balance this. It's a bit troubling because I mean it's not clicking yet. That's probably the thing that worries me more than anything else. Is not I haven't quite been able to get the hang of it. I mean, it's just not enough. Because I mean, for each battle, you only do this one time, and then you spend the rest of the battle realizing that you've fucked it up yet again. So, and sometimes it's really difficult to know what you could have done differently. Maybe I should just try a lot of different things and see how it works out. I mean, it probably can't go any worse than the last battle, right? Where I got two platoons got basically overrun. Um, Okay, so if I do that, then maybe it makes more sense to put more light armor in here. The thing is, if he goes with tanks, then that's going to reduce his force, and so I suspect he may not, because last time he somewhat regretted taking this cruiser tanks because he could have gotten a lot more stuff because they're expensive. Um, well, they vary in price a lot from but the lowest is 77, the highest is probably 90 something. Um, and they're not that different though. I mean, the cost of them it's made in armor, so you might as well go for the least expensive one because 1940 none of the no, the tanks are just the good tanks are very expensive, so nobody's gonna really have any of them at 1,000 points. Um, so possibility is actually these ones and actually put armor instead of the Kubel wagons, because that would raise me to, whoops, um, 99. No, I feel like if I leave the tanks out, I can get more units, and that's probably something I should seriously consider. But I'm nervous because not having tanks is now. At the beginning, in the first few battles, I didn't really care, but now it feels like not having armor is a liability. Um, which is kind of weird because I'm not really, well, it means that I have changed my view of how of combined arms a little more. Um, it's not really practical to just have only infantry in this game because you can never be sure what the other opponent might have, so you really need to cover some things. The problem is for the Germans is their light armor is very light, very very light. Their armored cars not really that. I mean because they're only scout vehicles, so they're not really adequate for fighting with. And this recon thing really annoys me because why can I only get these as recon, right, as elite units? Why can't I get those as regular units? It's a bit frustrating. That's a lot of armored cars. But again, they're not well armed. They only have um, well, we have these. And I actually found these to be quite. Yeah, they were not as bad as I expected them to be. It gives you quite a lot, a whole platoon. But I don't know. That seems a bit unbalanced. Yeah, so that's really the question. So can I get away with not having any additional any tanks at all? I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't. It's just not. Doesn't feel right not to take any. That's really weird because in the first points battle, I kind of avoided taking anything. But now I feel like avoiding that is somewhat wrong. I just don't know. Um, oh, it's getting really pricey. That is expensive. It does come with a 47 millimeter gun on it though, which actually is not a bad thing, but still. Um, well, I mean, these are completely inadequate against other tanks. They strictly an infantry support unit. Um, Actually, no, actually, it's even worse than that. They were never intended for combat in the first place. Um, so actually using them in combat in the game is probably, well, using them in combat in the game is too frequently is probably not very realistic. I mean, it was a training tank. It was never intended to be used in actual combat. Um, Keeping in mind that Germany wasn't allowed to build stuff under the terms of their defeat of in World War One. So this is what they did. Um, okay, so here we go. I'm close. This is it. I can't really see what else I can do. Um, it's just these last few things where trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Let's look at the map again. Maybe that'll give me an idea. Like the motorcycle units are a good idea to move up fast on this side. I moving up fast here is going to be difficult anyway. I mean, once you through these trees, then by that point the British will have taken those anyway, and they will have this high ground here. So really, you're looking at units to try and defend this side. The motorcycle units can move up here, and then the rifle unit can come up behind them. But then there needs to be something else. Thing is, the armored cars are priced right, but the weapons are inadequate. The 20 millimeter is not gonna withstand much against. Um, uh, is that the same one in the Mark II? '20 millimeter KWK. 30L50. Yep, it's the same one. Now, normally you'd look at armored cars and go, well, that's that's nice, it's great. Uh, it's an inexpensive armored unit, provides support when units move up. But then you realize it's an elite unit and you're paying a premium for that. So you're not really using it the way the game does, the mod designer intended. Well, probably not the way the Germans intended, because the reason it's an elite unit is probably historical, more than anything else. Because I'm assuming in real life they were actually better trained. Well, I mean they were intended to operate on their own for long periods of time, so that does require people you can that are reliable, can operate on their own. So but it's kind of annoying when you look at it. Okay, so you like a 38T is a better buy because it's 84 points. But the thing is, this is not a scout thing, so we can't really support this force that's going to move up here. And that's the issue. It's like, how the hell do I support that? They're not going to be able to do much by themselves. Now, if I give them LMG platoon, now we're down to 33 points. So that group moves up this side. So we're coming down to a very similar thing I have in my solo game at the moment, although it's not. I think the solo game might be a little bit better. I have a feeling. No, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, it always comes down to needing 4 platoons. I'd like to be able to get a 5th platoon, but I just can't seem to do it. So I've come down to putting these smaller platoons in to try and achieve that. This gives me the benefit of having units that can move up very fast. These guys are going to be slow. They won't be able to do much. So these guys can move up very fast on the south side. Like I said, the north side doesn't matter that much, but that leaves me with 33 points, which becomes increasingly more difficult to find what you can spend it on. Especially considering I don't have armor at all. Which is scary. So we're even out of the range for being able to put what's names in. Right. So let's come out. Well, a better way, a cheaper way to support them is actually with these, because these are recon. That's their purpose. So one of those actually makes more sense. These are 61 points. I don't think there's anything else I can do with that. So the best I could do is one tank. Is you can actually get one now. Oh, I can even get a Mark III. Wow. Okay, I could get one Mark III. Is that worth it? Probably not. Hmm. Oh, these are interesting. They only have HE. And these are very interesting, but can't afford them. 61 points. 61 points. Um, oh, they just armored machine guns. Nope. One Mark IV. Actually, if I take these out, these scouts here are actually the scouts for this infantry. Don't think so. No, I don't think so. Oops, armor, yeah. $82 points. Considering you're facing more infantry than the Mark IV is probably a better choice. It's got a bigger gun on it. Doesn't carry as much armor piercing because it's a infantry close support tank. That's something I didn't. It took me a long time to realize that. Took me. I did not know that only the Mark IV was never really designed to be. Originally, was never designed to be a when you like a main battle tank. It was actually intended to be a close support tank, but it got repurposed. The chassis worked really well for a lot of different things, so it got repurposed in a big way. We get one Mark IV, which actually moves up behind these guys because the side of the map is open enough that it makes sense to have something like that. So basically, it's just mobile artillery. So having said that, okay, I gotta be careful here because that is 92 points. That's what 46 points. Okay, so that is 46 points. These are because I don't want to go over here. 46. I think I've gone over. Nope, I haven't. I have not. I'm still well under. Right, so that's good. So I haven't gone over any points. Yeah, because I mean this is not. Now, of course, one tank is kind of a liability in itself. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, experiment, I guess. It won't hurt. So we end up with 36 points. Let's go into miscellaneous. What do we got here? Nope, nothing there. If we put those, I'm thinking of maybe we can. Nope, can't. Think of maybe motorizing these guys, but because that'll help them move up a little faster. But it doesn't look like that's going to be feasible. So in actual fact, I could give these guys. I think the scouts are not out of the question. Um, 'Now at the point levels where finding something that could work, probably don't need additional MGs here because the Mark 1s have machine guns on them. The Mark 4 has a machine gun. These guys do not have machine guns. They only have rifles. So I don't think we need any more machine guns here for this group. Just a matter of figuring out what to fill them, what else to give them. But of course, machine guns are always good. So, well, we don't really need more machine guns. Are you insane? We need more, as many as we can get. Because really, you do. I mean, that's the fastest way to cut down the enemy's numbers. 36 points. What can we do? Another infantry anti-tank. That only makes sense if there's light armor, but there's a possibility of some heavier stuff. Um, Just doing some calculations. And for the curious, I'm using DC, the command line calculator. That's why it sounds like there's a lot of typing going on. I said I'm trying to try something here. Let's just go to the tanks. Oops, not that one. And we get 2 of them. Yeah, that unbalances it quite a lot. I mean, points wise. Now, obviously this is a better tank. It's much better as against other tanks, and that's probably why it costs a lot more. Well, not a lot more, but a few points more. A couple, 8 points. Yeah, it's not a lot, but given what you're getting, I mean, you're getting the Mark IV is a better gun on it for one thing. Although wasn't intended as an anti-tank weapon, so its accuracy may be a bit suspect for anti-tank capability. And having only one of them is kind of iffy. Well, basically, I'm down to this that point where it's okay. Can I live with this? I mean, and I'm trying to figure out how to spend 36 more points, which is never easy. It always comes down to you guessed it, Kubelwagen MGs. Although that would be kind of excessive. Just 3 platoons of those. Yeah, that's a bit excessive. I wonder if we could do that. That would only leave eight points. Still feeling like it's just too small a force for me to manage. that's the problem. Let's see what else we got in here. Off tracks are so damned expensive. That's because they're actually armored vehicles, right? As opposed to being trucks. Well, they're not that well armored, so they're not that well protected. Certainly not against other tanks. How many would we need for that? We'd actually need 5 of them. track section. With that, and say this one, nope, can't do that one. This takes me down a road of no tanks at all. Trying to decide whether I'm really comfortable with that, and I'm not. No, I'm not really. I gotta make sure that that would actually work in terms of being able to carry all that stuff. Rifle platoon. Platoon leader is 6 men. Yeah. So we do the recon on a half track. It carries 6 men. Oops. An off-track platoon. Wait. Armed half-track section. Nope. Can't even get one of them. There was a recon half-track. That gives me 2. Okay. Now, the problem is you can't actually, can't remove only one of them. That would be nice if you could just remove, like if you bought a whole formation and just delete one of them, you could get the points back. Nobody thought of doing that. Because that would, then you'd have a little bit more flexibility, but it would be unrealistic because you don't normally, the military doesn't have parts of units. You either get a whole company or you get a whole platoon, or you know, that's how it works. You never send 2 infantry sections to go, do something. You always send the whole platoon. If you need more men, you send the whole company. If you need a lot more men, you send the whole battalion. Depending on what kind of how difficult the job is, you need to get done. So we have those. I thought we could get 1 recon half track, but I guess not. So back to this. I think this is probably where I'm going to end up. So either with those, with the 20 millimeter, KWK 30L50. It's just a rapid fire autocannon. It's got no armor piercing at all. It's strictly anti-infantry. Actually, I think it has what do you call them? APCR, armor piercing composite rigid. They're very short range. Not very helpful against other tanks. Strictly support for these guys. But I'm thinking that in that case, the Mark 1 is probably more adequate. And then the Mark 4, which we can get 1 of, is 36 points. So back to that. The points are okay. It's balanced out. We get 2 scout car platoons. These do not count as armor because they got none. They basically transports with machine guns on them. For more machine guns, yay! These could be used anywhere. These could be used on the north side of the map or even the south side. They have weapons on them, and they're not very, like I say, they've proven to be exceptionally useful. But maybe that's just because I suck, and so everything with a decent gun in it seems useful. Maybe, I don't know. That actually uses up every single point, which is not bad, but still, we'll look a little bit longer just in case. Motorcycle company. That's curious. Well, those are elite. Wow. These are not. Yeah, this is just average. Wow, the motorcycle company is quite. That's very pricey. Gotta watch out here, though. You could easily lose your LMGs if you click that. So the whole company has a leader, 3 LMGs, which is basically one of those, one motorcycle, and it's got 1, 2, 3. And 3 rifle platoons. For those times when I've graduated to having more points. Let's see, what do we have in infantry? Let's see what we have in artillery. I don't think I can actually afford anything from here. I am used up those already. Well, no, I do have room in the artillery. Those are 42 points. Two of them. Okay, so I've got 16 points on that side. If I wanted to go with some more artillery, no, not a hope in hell of finding anything for 16 points in artillery. They're all too damn expensive. Oh, this is where the weapons platoon is. Okay, this is the equivalent of what you can get for what you can get in the infantry company, the rifle company. This is cheaper. Also, I've read they completely unrealistic. They never ever existed as a separate formation. So, yeah. Well, that's sufficiently weird. Okay. No, they're not cheaper. That is weird. Why are they not cheaper? Oh, because no, the platoon HQ is probably more expensive. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yes, the only difference is that that's the tank rifle. That's the tank mines. So it's actually more expensive because the platoon leader is quite costly, I think. Yeah, that's because these guys are 16 points. Yeah, that's it. So if they basically take that out, add one of those in, and then it comes. The other one's like 96 points or something. But he's also classified as infantry rather than as artillery. Light mortar. Okay, so um, gives me a lot of units, and some of them are there's quite a bit of mobility. Then so I'm able to move around the map to try and cover areas when necessary. I think. Not happy with it. I mean, there's just not enough armor in it. But I don't really see what else I can do. I don't see how I can compensate for that because the armor gets just a little bit too expensive. Now, if I actually get rid of these Mark 1s, I might be able to get. How would that work? If I got rid of the Mark 1s, I actually just went with the Mark 4s, which would be very expensive, but no, it wouldn't work out. You'd actually have to go with a cheaper tank. We'd go back to 38T. So I'm getting one good tank is really what it comes down to. If I went with 38T, we'd end up with 36 points. These guys will not have any support, but then if we throw in the Kubelwagen MGs, they would have support. So that could take care of it. So the 38Ts instead, and these guys, this would actually be supporting that. The other ones would probably be in front of the tanks, I think, or even in front of the infantry, because the tanks would be behind the infantry. I don't want to go with that. Do I want to go with that? The thing is, I just don't know. I'd rather go with the problem is the 38T is not really that good, but maybe that's adequate. Maybe it's good enough. Maybe that's all I need. Because at least they have. Yeah, so these Kubelwagens could operate with them. These Kubelwagens could lead the infantry, and the infantry could lead the tanks. Because normally the tanks would be behind infantry moving on foot, or close, or among them maybe, just to avoid enemy infantry getting too close by. This is slightly more comfortable because I've actually got two tanks. Doesn't make me feel like I'm outnumbered too much. But again, you just don't know what at this point level. The likelihood of the opponent not taking tanks is actually quite high. So this may not work. It may be a bad thing. It may be a bad thing. But I think I've got a bit of mobility, so maybe it's not. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe. I think I'm going to go with that. It's a very small force again. I just can't think of what else to do with it. Really quite difficult for me to put this together. And if I had accepted the 200 points extra, then I'm not sure what I would have done. I mean, I probably would have. Actually, one thing I would have to ask him was how that would work, because I still do I get the extra 10% in the artillery and armor? So I want to make sure I understand the rules of it before I get into that. So it needs a little bit more discussion. But I felt I needed to start this one because I don't know how frequently I'll be able to play in the next few days. So just get this thing started. He's no rush for him to. I'll tell him there's no hurry for him to do his side of it. Right, I think I'm going to go with that. So what'll happen is that uh, these guys are moving up on the north side very slowly, unfortunately. Trying something new here. This is filling. This Waffentruppe is filling in for the support platoon that would normally be associated with the rifle company. So they have everything that platoon would have, and actually one extra LMG. So these guys are moving up on this side of the map. One platoon is going to be taking that. One platoon will move up to take that. I don't know. Be difficult. I don't know if they can move up fast enough, though. That's the problem. I don't have anything I can move up very quickly on this side. That's probably the main difficulty here. It really depends on how far back we are. So I'm end up on my back foot here again. I haven't put anything into the. Well, I can send a Kubelwagen over, maybe a Kubelwagen group that way, just to see what can be done. If I can, I don't think so. I don't see how they could gain much, because all of these victory hexes are in these trees, and so the Kubelwagens will be slowed down a lot in here. Yeah, the victory hexes are actually in the trees. Yeah, they're actually in the trees, so for them to move up to there, they'd have to move up on this side. That might be feasible. We'll see. So I have those. I don't see them being able to move up all the way up to here, because it's going to take them a while to get into there anyway. So the initial goal is these are probably easier to take in the first turn. We'll see how close we can get to those. And then moving the infantry up will be time consuming. But in the south, we move up the motorcycle platoon first, supported by Kubelwagen MG platoon, and behind them will be the infantry moving as fast as they can. Behind them will be the 238Ts. And then once the infantry move up to there, the mobile units can maybe move out to the side to keep an eye out, because this flank will still be quite thin. So I need some ability to cover that. In case he sends armored cars or something racing down the side of the map. I just I can't compensate for all the things he can do. He can run rings around me. In the last battle, he literally did run rings around me. He was actually surprised that was a decisive victory for him, and I asked why. Well, I lost a lot of units, but they were cheap units, right? This is the thing. I mean, he lost like 3 times. Yeah, he lost like no, not quite 3 times. 2.5 times the units I lost in terms of men, but his units probably cost half of what mine did, so it didn't matter. That the points couldn't compensate for the fact that I only had 450 points in victory X's. Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at it and it's like, well, normally in a between nations that are probably fairly equal. I shouldn't say normally, but between nations that are fairly equal, it probably will balance out, because the cost of losing units is very. I mean, in terms of points, you're gonna pay for it, and losing that many men, if it was like Britain or if that was Germany, that would have been fatal, because that was a huge number of points. But I only lost 84 men, but that was more than enough. I mean, most of those were complete losses in terms of entire units. So, but I think East was too, but they just didn't cost enough to balance it out. So I don't know. We'll see how that works out. It's not enough. It never is. I just can't see making more, because this is the cheapest unit you can get. I mean, there is nothing. Like the cavalry unit is the only one that's cheaper. But then what do you do? Once you've taken the positions. They're not infantry you can use to hold the ground, right? To dig in and defend stuff. That's not what they're good at. So as a general purpose unit, the rifle platoon is the cheapest you can get. I don't think you can get anything cheaper than that. The Panzer Grenadiers, 167 points. SS Platoon, 129 points. SS Motor Platoon, 186 points. SS Panzer Grenadier, 297 points. Yikes. Fallschirmjäger, 91. Yeah, it goes on and on. I mean, so engineering platoon's the same, but they actually have less than they're not as that. I mean, they're useful if you're fighting a town, they'd be very useful because they probably have an advantage there. The Pioneers, very mobile, but not terribly useful, and not cheap either. So there you go. I mean, it's like, what can you do? What is there? What other option is there? It doesn't seem like there is a lot. So try and just make do with what I got, and I think that's probably, it's frustrating. I'll admit that, but if I had more experience, it probably would be less frustrating. But I don't have any way to gain that experience except by being frustrated for the time being. So I think we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with a lot of Kubelwagen MGs. It does seem like a bit excessive, but again, it's a cheap unit. It has a really good machine gun on it, assuming they don't break. I'd really cry if all of them broke. Oh man, that would be. I'd scream. Yeah, just let it all out. Yeah, that'd be good. Well, the likelihood of that happening is quite low, but not impossible. And we had 3 MG-34s fail in the last battle, and I've never ever seen that many fail in one battle. And it's only like 15 turns, right? It's like that was 1 every 5 turns basically. That's random number generator overload. But there's no, and they can carry men. They can carry 2 men. Unfortunately, because they have an MG and the ammo that goes along with it, they don't have as much room. So they can only carry 2 men, which is fine because these are all 2-man scout groups. So in theory, we could do that. But we're not gonna bother carrying anything in them. I think that's it. To review, so this group is going to be moving up slowly to take the victory axis in the north. Too slowly, probably, as usual. We'll have to see how to get those into position to cover them. This is support unit for these guys, and for these guys mostly. Usual artillery. And in the south, we got a platoon, a rifle platoon, motorcycle scout unit to advance really quickly, and Kubelwagen to back them up. Tanks and Kubelwagens to back up their rifle unit. Okay, I think that's it. We'll see how this goes. All right, that's it. We're done. Are we? Just quick eyeball that again. Actually, more importantly, have I missed something that I thought I bought but I didn't? This is something new, so we're gonna be trying that. But it's costly. This is very expensive. So if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna be disappointed. It should be fine though. I mean, also because the thing is how to get them into positions. That's always the problem, I think. So you may be better off, instead of having these guys, you're actually better off with just having. But no, the problem is you can't get the mortars for cheap. That's the reason these are worth the points, is because you can get the mortars and the anti-tank rifles and the LMGs all in a bundle. I mean, you're getting if you bought the LMGs and the anti-tank rifles, that'd be great. that would be, you know, probably the same amount of points. But then when you got to buying the mortars, you'd be adding it to your artillery points, and that would push you over the 100 points, and so you couldn't get them. This way you can get the mortars without really hurting your artillery points. Now, I mean, I still have artillery points left over because I can't get anything else here. So if we went to, I gave at 120 points, at 1,200 points, I would probably split that up rather than just get that. Or more likely, I'd probably get additional tubes of mortars or howitzers or something just to give a little bit more punch. 100 points though for mortars for the Germans is just cutting it a bit fine. You can't quite get everything you might want. And it's not really a problem. It's just that you need to know what you're doing, to operate a German battle group at 1,000 points. And I don't know what I'm doing, so we'll figure it out at some point, I guess. I think that's going to be it. Looks like I got everything. Yep. All right, we're done.